Alright folks, and we've got a ton of stuff to cover. So no delay and no hesitation. Here's the sun, 304 angstroms. We see big time filaments all around the southeast portion as well as the northwest portion. And we'll zoom in on that. There's that southeast portion. And we see a little bit of flare-ish activity happening on up there in the northeast, the northwest rather, as well as a large towering filament. And here's the sun, 193 angstroms, looking at about 7 hours and 15 minutes of solar activity. We see another very large, very well-defined coronal hole rotating in. The North Pole coronal hole is looking larger than it has been, as the South Pole coronal hole seems to have shrunk. And we're not going to look at the magnetometer data too much because there's a lot of stuff to cover today, so let's keep going. And here's a LASCO C2 image, and we've got actually two comets here. One looks like it's going to break up, but it emerges on the side. Right there, you're going to see it coming back out. So that just happened to stumble upon that one, folks. We'll let that play through again so you can see that go all the way through. There you see it come out. And there's also a comet south of the sun down here. See that right there? Practically traveling in tandem. So just happened to see that while looking for coronal mass ejections today. We'll look at the C3 also in a minute, but first let's talk about the smAsho mission, which is to assist, study, and report on an ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space and weather. That is, literally, between space and weather. Earth effects, Earth weather, space. Your weather comes from space. You come from space, and so does your weather, folks. Oh no, I'm overlapping. All right, there we go. To connect and consult with media organizations, such as to create this YouTube channel, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including, but not limited to, sciences like spectroscopy and chemistry, astrophysics, health, wellness, longevity, cosmology, biology, magnetohydrodynamics, geology, etc. We're trying to solve some of those geologic mysteries like oh so many other folks. Also to assist the humans by advancing the study of things like predictive phenomenon, to do stuff like optimize value and reduce risk and liability and save lives and resources no matter what the adversity is, and to not be ossified in our beliefs, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. So if that sounds like a mission you can support, look us up on Patreon, become a patron, and I'm telling you right now, join at the $10 level because we're going to have a $10 tier coming up very soon. And so check us out there. You will get access early to all kinds of files, solar wind data, all kinds of geo alerts, and so on. We put that stuff up there specifically for our patrons. And we're also on PayPal. So check us out there if you like. You can send donations that way as well. We do intend to be a nonprofit by the end of the year. Also check out the Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign, specifically formulated for our spaced out viewers. Links in the description below this video. So if you're in the market for CBDs, support the channel that way. And for that, those who have, we thank you. And let's talk about the real-time solar wind. We just came off a very deep negative BZ phase here, coupled with a coronal hole magnetic connection, but it was kind of fleeting and sputtering. So that's actually back into a state of flux now. You can see it's dropping down in the past half an hour. Solar wind density 3.6 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 335. That's kilometers a second if you weren't aware. And there's the ACE data looking similarly. Check out the International Space Station. Did a solar transit. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Anyway, it did a solar transit. And for all you folks out there who think space is fake, see the thing is. Anyway, shout out spaceweather.com. Well done with the transit of the ISS. Let's look at magnetosphere movies. First we'll play 4 hours of density data. There you have that. I wonder if I can shrink any smaller. Can I shrink? Oh, I can shrink. Check it out. Nice. Honey, I shrunk myself. And there's the pressure. About 4 hours of archive data there for you also. Nothing too crazy going on. We should see one tiny spike toward the end of the video, according to what the solar wind data shows, whether erroneously or not. And there's that spike as forecasted before your very eyes. Next we'll show you the geospace magnetic ground perturbations. You should see a similar spike at that period in time. It'll be toward the end of the video. And for those of you not aware, we've got 2 north poles on our planet right now. And if you're viewing from a different planet, solar system, galaxy, plane of existence, or dimension, please leave a comment, as cosmology is my main focus. Anyway, here's that spike occurring at, I'm not sure, occurring at around 7:24 UTC. So there you have that. Not as big as the ones we've seen in the past couple of days. And whether or not that's erroneous is anybody's guess, as, well, if you read about the space modeling framework, you'll understand why. This is derived from solar wind data. So it's nothing to worry about too much, folks. KP index currently at 1, off of its lows at 0, and we will cover cosmic rays. First we're going to look at opacity. And we just had a cosmic ray spike right there in opacity in the last day. That's the highest level of cosmic ray flux we've had over that period, although in the long run, pretty nominal levels there as far as the current high levels that we're at. Now Barentsburg in the past day is showing the highest in the past 30 days. Here's Athens, and we see some anomalous data there on around the 20th and the 6th, but currently nominal levels. Here's Mexico City, and we see the highest levels of cosmic rays there in the past 30 days, or close to it. And here's Moscow, just coming off the highs here, and back into a rising trend over the past, let's see, that's the highest we've seen in about a week there at Moscow. Here's Oulu, Finland, and by the way, for your new viewers out there, we keep the links for our cosmic ray page in the description below the video, around the other links to support our channel. And there's the situation at Oulu, Finland. There's DOMC, Antarctica. Nominal range there. Here's DOMB, Antarctica. Not returning any data now. Uh-oh. And again, the links to this page with a network of cosmic ray stations is in the description. Here's the F2 ionosphere animation. Courtesy Australian Government, Bureau of Meteorology. And we see standard anomalies there going on in the South Atlantic anomaly. Otherwise, things are looking pretty normal in the ionosphere. GOES X-ray flux completely flatlined. We haven't even seen a B-class flare since July 7th. Electron flux is looking pretty normal here. Keep in mind the N's and M's are referring to noontime or midnight for the satellites. So for instance, right now, GOES 14 is right near midnight, and GOES 15 is approaching midnight. So the electron flux is something to keep an eye on, and when I say ion, the pun was intentional. Let's look at the last GOES C3 since we looked at the C2, and we're going to see a conjunction of Venus and Mars going on. It's massive enough to have mass. And I'll zoom that out so you can see the date stamps before we move on to lots more stuff, as there's lots more stuff to cover. GOES magnetometer still looking very choppy as forecasted. Fairly low levels here. and we expect this to continue as the polarity sector crossing is happening as we speak. And here's a visualization of that. We're about to be in the North Pole associated portion if we aren't already. This data 1 hour and 56 minutes old. We're not expecting huge fluctuations in this, and this activity that's rising on the sun is something to keep an eye on out here. This area right here where my pointer is, you see some suspended plasma there and some fluctuations in the fields. Otherwise, after the sector boundary happens, after this field force line snaps into the green section depicted here, that's the North Pole portion of the current sheet. That will lead to basically smoother conditions on the GOES magnetometer. And since we just had a conjunction here, let's look at planetstoday.com. They've got some good tools here. You can do the geocentric view. And I wanted to show you a big pileup that's going to happen in a couple of days here. Major conjunctions are going to be happening here on the 31st, where the Moon, the Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury are all lined up. Check it out. Now, normally we just use a diagrammatic view here. So let's go to that, and that's where things are now. Milky Way galaxy team for the win. And there's where things will be in 1 week, just coming off of a new moon. Here's where things are above my head. It's 3:33. Make a wish. Check out in-the-sky.org. Make your own sky map. Put in your location. And it'll show you where stuff is. Personally, I like to draw in the ecliptic. If you don't know what the ecliptic is, head to duckduckgo.com and do a web search and figure it out. It's that line. Hint, it's that line. See that yellow line there? Let's talk about prepping. We're going to do it each day for the next foreseeable future, over the next period of months, at least weeks, as we are in the process of reading David Dubine's latest book release, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Let's talk about choosing a ham radio. We'll include the link to this article in the description. It's a 24-page article about whether to have a VHF or an HF or whatever. And yeah, so we're working our way through David Dubine's book, The Grand Solar Minimum Climate Revolution. And thanks, David, for citing us in there. More on this in a moment. And here's the moment. Head to the YouTube channel, Adapt 2030's YouTube channel, that is. The URL is Myanmar Living. And expect to see us coming up soon on a video, as we have a long-form discussion with David on our page also. So check out our YouTube page as well as David's, as he comes out with great videos daily about things like food shortages, a growing concern at the same time that inflation is increasing and all kinds of strife is happening around the world. Food prices will rise at the totally most inopportune moment, and that is why I'm such a critic of the tariffs. Not a fan of the tariffs, not a fan, as I prefer the government to stay out of economics, because the government sucks at most things that it does. Let's talk about David LaPoint, since he's already changed the world, and he's in the process of doing it to an even more extreme level. Let's talk about the new theory of everything going on regarding the Primer fields. Let's just do a little visualization here of the way certain things in our universe operate. I'm going to turn the volume down, but watch these fields here. Watch what happens with these fields, and see if it reminds you of anything, such as planetary orbits. Does it remind you of anything? Does it remind you of anything, folks, like the sun and the earth, perhaps? All right, moving on. Now, David's recently come out with a video about 6 hours ago, and I'm going to play a clip from that. We'll leave links in the description to all this stuff underneath our video, as you have entered the Neo-Renaissance, folks. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance as things like astrophysics get rewritten. Check it out.
Go there, you'll learn how to make this one. Some of these others I'll be getting to later that I also did in the videos.
Anyway, all the technology is now available, folks. So if you didn't hear it someplace else first, you heard it here first. Cheers. We try to be a little bit ahead of the curve on this channel, and I think you'll find that that is the case. primercube.org if you want all of the technology. Again, links in the description. We saw some apparent magmatic earthquakes happening here, such as this 3.2 at Pahala, Hawaii. Let's look at the rest of the earthquakes, as that's only a 3.2. All right, so first of all, heads up Western South America, as you've been seeing deep quakes, and more have even been coming in. So be prepared for a disaster if you are in Western South America, or if your peeps are. Let's run down the list as quickly as possible, as this video is getting long, and there's still a lot of stuff to cover. We see a 5.1 at Tonga. We see a 4.6 at Vanuatu, as there's a swarm going on there in Oceania. Venezuela experienced a 4.0. And I think that's the largest quake of the past day, folks, a 6.0 at Vanuatu. And that does not signal the end of the earthquakes there. That is a warning sign for a 7 magnitude quake there. That's the kind of thing that can generate tsunamis. 6.0 in Vanuatu at 114 kilometers depth. Heads up Oceania. As tsunamis can go halfway. Tsunamis can kill you from an earthquake halfway around the world, if you weren't aware. 4.7 in Japan. 4.8 in somewhere. I have to move me. Okay, now I'm over here. Cheers. 4.8 in the Northern Mariana Islands. 4.4 at Fiji. That one is at 363 kilometers. Again, heads up for a large quake in Oceania, as that coronal hole's rotating in, folks. The risk factors are all there. Deep quakes, coronal holes. 5.4 at Tonga at depth. 4.2 at Indonesia. 5.1 at Chile. It's a 4.8 at Argentina. As well as a 4.6 at Sagave, Wallace, and Fortuna. So, again, if you're in an earthquake-prone area, folks, have a plan. Let's talk about some nonsense. Windy.com is getting into the global warming debacle, as they talk about the hottest this and the hottest that, and sea level rise and all kinds of other BS. Leo DiCaprio shows you maps of carbon monoxide because farmers started fires in South America, and apparently human carbon dioxide emissions have caused farmers to start fires in South America, which is a ridiculous notion. Let's play the pressure map. We'll advance it about 24 hours, and then we'll move on and stop bloviating about such BS. And there's about 24 hours where things will be. Let's look at more data, such as the volcano rundown. Stromboli, back to erupting, outgassing, and exploding from several vents. So Stromboli back on the list. Karimsky back on the list, exploding up there in Kamchatka, 20,000 foot ash plume. Shivaluch, 23,000 foot ash plume and explosive activity there. Mount Aso erupted, 6,000 foot ash plume there. Sanjiang Api, that's exploding too, 10,000 foot plume there. Krakatau, several eruptions have occurred during the past few days, as well as explosive events from the crater lake. Dacono, 6,000 foot plume there. Popocatépetl, exploding, 22,000 foot ash plume there. Mount Fuego, Mount Revenador, and Sabancaya exploding, producing a 23,000 foot ash plume. So that's a volcanic uptick if I ever saw one. Anyway, thanks Milky Way Galaxy team. And by the way, Milky Way Galaxy team, for the win. Thanks for being so spaced out viewers. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your being ungoogleable and attempting to actually find our content, and maybe even being successful in doing so. It's amazing. It's incredible. I can't even believe it. We got original memes, by the way. If you want access to those, become a patron. I don't know if you were aware. I don't know if you're aware the government is trying to censor you, and well, the government used to try to censor you, but who needs a government when big tech will do it for free? It's free, folks. You could be censored for free. The only cost is your privacy. It's no big deal. Again, thanks smAsh team for tuning in. And stay tuned for a bonus feature, because here comes one. Value-added service. We have an insane storm hitting Kansas. Possibly, oh, that is bad news right there. We were going to actually lead with this, but I wanted to see how it evolved, and it's not evolving in a nice way. Wichita, you are so in the crosshair. By the time we get this uploaded, you'll already be hit, and that is why we prefer to do live streams. Here's the shortwave radiation animation of this, courtesy NASA GOES interactive weather satellites, and that is a bad one, folks. That's going to be doing stuff like severe wind, damaging hail, probably generating multiple tornadoes, as we have two systems trying to oppositely rotate. Well, in this case, the low pressure system is winning the battle, because that is not going to be a good day for Wichita and all of central Kansas. Let's hope nobody ends up in Oz, shall we? We covered it yesterday, but let's talk about it again anyway. Climate criminal Michael Mann loses his court case, suing Dr. Tim Ball for defamation for the past 9 years. Guess who got awarded his court fees? All costs. Dr. Tim Ball. If you'd like to congratulate Michael Mann, we'll leave links to his website as well as his Penn State site there. We'll leave links in the description. If you'd like to maybe send your condolences to Mr. Mann and ask him what the bill's going to be for 9 years of a legal battle. I don't know if you were aware that Google is not the most savory company. In fact, you could probably say that it's an unsavory company. I would agree. Sorry, folks. Today's donkey versus sinkhole section is going to have to be truncated because the video got long, and there's still a lot of stuff to do today. So stay tuned for one bonus feature, one bonus feature. And that means you, smAsh team. That means you. Yeah, that's right. We'll close things out with the colorized magnetogram, as we do see some stuff going on up there. And yeah, we actually see some field activity up here, and some field consolidation happening there. Zoom in a little bit. This is about 8 hours of the sun, folks. The colorized magnetogram. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please visit the links in the description below the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And please remember to stare at the sun and be spaced out, and so on. Become a patron. Do the $10 level, as we're going to have a tier that has practically no content on it, and one that has practically all the content. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.